Good afternoon on another beautiful day. You know, there's Operation 2.0. We all heard the news today, the same time as yesterday, when radios used by Hezbollah terrorists to communicate their war started exploding today. And yes, not as many as yesterday. There were less, but the impact was much greater because they were larger devices. And some 60 homes of terrorists exploded. 15 motorcycles and cars just in one area in the north, and there's so much more. What a remarkable feat. Yesterday everyone was wondering why Israel didn't attack Lebanon from the ear and surprise Hezbollah while Hezbollah was busy with all the pages exploding. But of course, Israel has told us that they have many surprises left. This is only the beginning. It's just a remarkable thing, but it reminds me of something so powerful. You know, every year when we do the Passover Seder, we speak about the 10 plagues. And one of the 10 plagues is the 10th plague, which was the greatest plague, and which would ultimately caused Pharaoh to say, let the people go. He said, Moses, you want them, take them. What was the death of the firstborn? It was a remarkable thing. God told the Jewish people to slaughter the lamb and to put the blood on the doorpost. And on the night when the Jews left Egypt, God suddenly passed over the Jewish homes, and in all the Egyptians' home, every firstborn was killed. And the commentaries tell us something remarkable. Many people were firstborn to their mother, but not to their father, because people didn't know who was whose. And suddenly in one home, you thought there was one firstborn, but there were more than one people dying because there were other firstborns that never knew they were the firstborn. And literally, all the firstborns died on that night. And I think about what's going on today. Today we found out that one of the main Hezbollah people in the Lebanon government, who's a Shia, his son was killed today. What was he doing with the radio of Hezbollah that they use for war? And yesterday we heard about the Iranian ambassador who was injured. What was he doing with a pager from Hezbollah? We heard now that in Iraq and other places where there's militias that are connected to the Iranian regime and all their Shia groups that stow terror all over were attacked. There is no home that could run away. Suddenly we're finding out people we never knew were affiliated and connected to Hezbollah. We're getting the pain. Just like the story of the firstborn plague. God promised the Jewish people, yes, you're going through suffering, but at the end, Pharaoh will have to let you go. And it was the plague of the firstborn that did it. I'm not sure if you're reading, but Division 98 is making its way up north in Israel. Israel is getting ready to finally reckon with Hezbollah, who's terrorizing it since its inception in 1984 or 85, with one goal: to kill Jews. And Israel has no choice. Division 98 is making its way, and Jews all over Israel are getting out of their homes, and they're standing on the way to cheer them on, to bring them food, to celebrate our heroic soldiers. We also have another thing. There's Division Unit 8200 in the IDF, that their whole goal is cyber warfare and technology. They're the ones that people are focusing on, that was responsible for what happened yesterday and what happened again today in Lebanon. And who knows what's coming more, because the head of the defense minister and the chief of staff are up north, and they said all eyes are moving north. And this is only a beginning. But we have to remember something else. In this week's Torah portion, God speaks about coming to the land. And then, as we read a few weeks ago, about the Jews going on Mount Abel and Mount Gerizim, and half of the Jewish tribes went on one and the other, and the Levites were in the middle. And God told the curses and the blessings that happen to the Jewish people if they keep the Torah or they don't. And in fact, in this week's Torah portion, we read those curses and those blessings. And as I mentioned to you a few weeks ago, right overlooking the area where the blessings and the curses were was the city of Shechem. And that's the place that Joseph went wandering for his brothers. As he says this, Achai ani mevakesh, I'm searching for brotherly love, when his father sent him to find his brothers, and ultimately he gets sold into slavery. And it comes full circle when he passes away. And Moses, who was in the tribe of Levi, that sold Joseph, carries his bones to be buried in Israel. And the blessings and the curses were given overlooking there. And according to some commentaries, it was a message from God that when we have unity, when we search our brothers and sisters as Achai ani mevakesh, then we have blessings. But when we search fighting and quarrel and reasons to hate our own, then we get curses. We know that we have a fractured community. We know that there's two Jews, there's three opinions. But ultimately we're one family. Family could argue, could have disagreements, but you sleep in the same home. We're at a remarkable turning point with Israel fighting wars all over. God is showing us miracles through the Mossad, through the intelligent groups that have never been seen. Things that even some of the Syrians and Lebanese and in Saudi Arabia, people who are famous people and don't love the Jewish people, are saying that this is something that hasn't happened since Entebbe, since the 6-Day War. These are remarkable miracles by God. Yes, we're the ones facilitating it, but we all know that without God this doesn't happen. We have to remember what happened at those mountains when we read in the Torah portion this week about the curses and the blessings. God is sending the plague of the death of the firstborn to our enemies to teach them that we're not going to feel bad. Suddenly they're saying, oh, civilians, doctors, anyone that has a pager from Hezbollah, anyone that has a radio where they communicate their war. 10,000 rockets have been thrown in 11 months indiscriminately against Jewish communities. 12 kids were murdered in a playground up north. Are we going to forget that? We're not going to feel bad for terrorists who are holding radios or pagers that are affiliated with one of the most evil, vile groups that ever existed. God has his way, and we'll find all of them. But we as a country, as a people, have to come together as Achai ani mevakesh. We search our brothers and sisters. Let us celebrate Division 98 of the army that's going up to fight a war that might be very painful for us. Let us celebrate Unit 8200 that's been the conduit of God's miracles to us. May Hashem bless Amo Vashalom, the Jewish people, with peace. Those that want peace with us, our hand is always stretched out in peace. But if you don't want peace, you'll rest in peace. If you fight us, if you try to kill us, we will not sit quietly. God bless you and continued goodness.